Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit that bell, and share, as we all say in the business. I'm excited to talk about 30 months of Not Grandma's Glass NGG, focus on artwork that is not in Grandma's art collection yet, though I have been corrected many times that the work has appeared in many collections. I'm wearing my new tie. Do you see this? This is my NGG tie. I'm going to be wearing this almost every single Zoom. If I remember, if I don't lose it, which is kind of fun and topic. And I was going to wear my hat, but I couldn't find one at the moment. So I'll skip that for today. But thanks for joining me. I'm going to go over some of the details about NGG and a highlight, of course, of who's been participating over the last, 30 months. So without further ado, I'm going to take over your screen and share. So we continue doing these Zooms. We have more planned. I'm going to be traveling next month for a short vacation, going down to North Carolina with my family for a wedding. So there may not be a Zoom next weekend, so don't worry. We'll be back, though. A lot of events planned. I'll figure it out and keep you all posted. The International is still on display. We have tons of people coming in. We have a lot of people commissioning right now, planning for artworks for this later on in the year and starting commissions, which is kind of fun, giving projects to a lot of the artists we represent. So I might do a commission talk here upcoming soon, talking about some of the commissions we have going and some ideas I may have. Again, the gallery looks incredible. If you haven't seen it, come see it. Come see me. We're there almost all the time, including today. My staff is there. So NGG, this is 30 months of the show. It's been a lot of fun. I've met a lot of artists that are very exciting and new to me and working in ways that are challenging. So this talk's kind of about the past, present, and future. So we'll kind of go into a little bit about what an NGG is. So it's kind of an interesting pattern of how it came to be. The story goes, and I won't go into it too much, is that I used to hear a lot at art shows that when a lot of my clients mentioned their families, they were talking about grandma's collection as, oh, that's just grandma's glass. They didn't have any identification, any understanding, or any grounding about why grandma collected. What were the experiences? Why would they collect this? Why are they keeping it? How do they enjoy it? And we created something on our Facebook, our Habitat page called Habitat Generations, which is basically writing down the stories about each piece so your family can enjoy it and know about it. I'll stop for a second and show you something kind of interesting too on the screen. There's a piece of software called Magica I just found out about and signed up for, which helps you build online apps using AI. And I'm hoping to incorporate this in a plan for building an inventory-based app that lets people put the stories of their work and the time they met the artists, or the time they traveled and how they opened up the piece with their family and their grandkids. This kind of documentation could be done all digitally in the future. So this is day one of me messing around with this, but I'll figure it out hopefully and put something together for us to share. So this exhibition came out from that idea of people not understanding, but also not relating. A lot of the artworks that were created in collections don't relate to the children unless they were very specifically designated as part of the family history. For example, as let's say Emily Brock, she would make a sculpture of the grandfather's dentistry office. There'd be dentist chairs and sinks and all that stuff, and that kind of tied together. There was always demand for those pieces by the rest of the family because of the history connecting it. And Jeffrey Bowden's here joining. Maybe there was some military history he would do a commission for that ties into the narrative of a relative that had that kind of experience. But without those ties, it becomes what we call stuff. And the idea is to break that barrier and to create identification about why grandma collected these pieces. But it also changed over time into the way younger people created artwork. They create artwork based upon relevant concepts going on today and social commentary and other things that really identify with them. And I'm bringing that to the forefront with NGG as well. And the middle thing I wrote here is interesting. The artists selected take risks with the work they create in order to draw an emotional response from each viewer. This means NGG is adapted from basically some pretty stuff at the beginning to stuff that's what we call more challenging, but has more of an emotional response. And we've talked to artists about this over the last 30 months and before, when we did general Zooms with artists like Janusz Walentinowicz, where he makes incredible artworks, but they have deep meanings to them. He's done women that are tied up and bound, and it's not about that particular concept. It's about holding yourself back from reaching your true potential. And it's a lot of topics that we've talked about with a lot of the artists. So we'll go through more, but I also think, in my perspective, this will also be the future of collecting, what younger people will collect because they'll identify with it, which is very interesting. It's something more to talk about. So let's continue on going. So if you go to notgrandmasglass.com, you can see the last 2 years plus half of this year, which is already up on NGG. You can see the previous videos of their talks. We don't really continue posting the shows because inventory has changed and work has changed since we started doing these shows. But you can see all the content up there, and it's also on YouTube mixed with other Habitat Now content. So please check it out. Our last talk was with Lacey Laceface Walton, who was from the pipe world, second generation pipe artist, incredibly talented. We're actually getting a piece of hers in the gallery soon. And upcoming next is going to be Slate Grove, a really long time member of our Habitat family that works with like John Miller and other artists, but he's got some powerful work about gun control that I'm going to be sharing next week, hopefully, if all goes as planned. So, you know, doing this the first year was fun. We reached out to artists I really believed in, and when we had, you know, the idea of it is a competition exhibition. There's 4 winners who are selected to get to participate in the next year in the last 4 months, so they have enough time to create. And it's worked pretty much. You know, this last year, Morag Riki was selected as a winner, but she's unable to participate. So we had Allie Hogue reached out to her, and she's able to step in, which is kind of fun and great to get her work. She was actually invited the first year, but couldn't do it. We've had some promotion. We've actually been in some magazines, and I'm trying to get more of this going because they really need more of this kind of content out there. We've been in Glass magazine in I think the Netherlands, thanks to Krista Israel, who had connections with the magazine. Glass Art magazine, there was a spiel about the Tony Porto and some other works we had from the first year of NGG. We've been in the ACG magazine, which is great, really focusing what we're doing. But, you know, as time goes by, we got to get more of this stuff going. Locally, we got in the news and on TV, Detroit News and the Free Press and CG, and there's a local paper here in Royal Oak, Michigan, just talking about it. But the more energy we get, the better. But I think that's why we're having this talk today to talk about ideas on how to do that. So we'll just do a quick review of the NGG participants because each one is super special and each one now has a legacy, and I'm watching their careers continue. And it's been really exciting to, you know, meet a lot of these artists, know them personally. And I met some of them for the first time at GAS. They just happened to be in town for the GAS conference, which was great. So the very first person to go, I was honored to have artist Morgan Riki from Seattle, who we love and we've had in our international show. She's quite the character and a very powerful person and artist. And she is a no BS person, believe you me, if you've met her. And she won the first year with her presentation, which you can watch online. And we're following her. She is an incredible talent, and I expect to see her more in this exhibition, maybe in the future, but definitely in our internationals. Menace Cookie, he was the second person to go, and we had a fundraiser for him that he sold some edition pieces and raising funds for a charity. We saw him recently here at the GAS conference. It was great to see him still working today. I own a piece of his that I got a couple of years ago that I don't have out yet, but I plan on putting out soon. And then Michael Janis and Tony Porto, who've been friends forever and collaborated making superhero glass. It was very amazing to see them come together and work, and they made their own website, and it was a launching point. Since then, they've done art fairs. They've been out at Scope in Florida, and they're continuing to jump off this NGG platform. John Moran, many of you know him. We had a solo, one of 3 artists, the solo exhibition at the gallery for Blown Away, as he was the winner of Blown Away Season 3. Been a long time friend of the gallery, and he makes incredibly powerful work. If you haven't seen any of his talks, please do. They're just incredibly moving. John Bowley was the first artist we had from the pipe world. I'm trying to continue that effort in NGG because, well, you like it or not, it's an important part of the glass movement now. There's so much incredible energy from the functional pipe world. It was held back for a long period of time, but there's no fighting it anymore. There's some incredibly brilliant people working in the pipe world, and they're worth bringing to the forefront for the attention they're getting. It's another, I guess, branch of glass that we can't ignore. And if we're not part of it, we'll be left behind. Chad Fonfera is someone we've shown at the gallery a few times. He makes these birds that are no longer alive, and it's about life itself. And no matter what you do, nature will continue on. There are works that are definitely challenging, but I really wanted him in the first year of the show. We've had his work in the gallery. And I think he's just an incredible talent, but it takes a very special person to want that kind of work. And then Petra Hrubakova was the first year. This was beautiful work. She is a third generation glass artist, but doesn't really have a platform, doesn't really have much out there in America. And we've had her work in the gallery. They're incredibly beautiful, like I think they're cut, polished, and laminated glass pieces, similar to her father, who was Thomas Havichka, who was the son-in-law of Pavel Halava, 3 generations. So having her as part of this exhibition was important to get part of her career. We'll see if she makes a lot more work. She also does these really fast looking glass cars that she did for her husband, and people have been buying them when they become available. Trina Weintaub, we had a solo exhibition for her at our international show in our very first room. Did a bunch of mice. You probably saw it at the show. If you haven't, come see it. I think almost all the mice have sold out. We're trying to get more from her. We have some wall rats available and some other works of hers, but she's just a lot of fun, and she's made pieces that I own. I own a rabbit of hers, but she's really under the money, and she's just an incredible talent, and wanted to be on this because from the flame working world, there's so much energy. And then winner Joe Ivacek won the first year of NGG as well. It was great to have him participate. Makes powerful work about, like I was talking about, with the current movements and social commentary. Everything's affected, and there's no way of avoiding the conversation. And we're definitely big fans of his. He has these spray can bottles you might see at the gallery and wall installations. And we'll talk more about his future NGG work. Dean Allison, I was just talking to Jeffrey about Dean, a longtime family member of our Habitat Gallery. He makes these incredible busts of people he knows, and I own a piece of his as well. I'm a big fan of a lot of people in this NGG presentation, and he's just incredibly talented. I mean, he works amazingly hard, and he creates incredible pieces. See his work at the gallery. Anthony Atta, he had his first exposure. I saw him win at an award at the Gas Conference, and then invited him to participate. He makes artwork based upon his heritage in Ghana and African history, and he makes these beautiful, I guess we call them like fabrics that have the visuals of his heritage. And as of the beginning of this year, he had his own first solo exhibition at Heller Gallery in New York. It's a heck of a platform to jump off of to get from NGG to Heller's solo exhibition. More power to him. He's making incredible work now. I follow him on social media, and so should you. Underneath all these pictures, you're seeing these @ symbols, and these are their, I guess, their handles on Instagram. So you can find everybody and follow them, because this is what it's about. It's about getting the word out and sharing what each of these artists are doing then, now, into the future. Krista Israel was another winner. She made some amazing things. She's from the Netherlands as well, and very powerful work. I'd love to see it in person. I have yet to see any of her work in person. But she's made this beautiful rocking chair, and this show really pushed a lot of people through the pandemic, because everybody was sitting on their hands trying to figure out what to do next, because there were no opportunities. And by doing the NGG show, this is very therapeutic, for lack of a better term, for others to get busy to do something in their own studios for an event that was obviously online, but it was cost effective and it was fun. And each of these artists are incredibly talented. So once we got through 2021, we continued in 2022. And so first to go was artist Pearl Dick, who a longtime member of our family as well, and she won the second year as a winner. She also had, what was really important for her is she was speaking about her community and giving back, and she has a glassblowing facility that brings in children that have been subject to violence in the inner city of Chicago. You have to physically be part of violence and have record of it to be part of her class. And it's turning people's life around. And just that story alone, we need to bring her back to continue telling her story. She was on TV not too long ago, I think one of the morning shows. I'll get a chance to see it. Google her name, watch it. Pearl will be back this next year. Alex Kruger, another friend of ours here at Habitat. It's been a while since we showed his work. I think we had it at Pop and Lock in 2019. He makes, urban works that are not designed to last forever, but to create something that he really loves and shares of his life and his style. It's amazing to see, because some of these artists paint, and watching them do their painting work and their glass work, it goes together, but it doesn't in a way, because they each has their own style. But he's a very important part of the future, whether you like it or not. And I'm expecting to see his career blossom. And then we get into Danny Coyle, Coyle Condenser, who's from the pipe world, someone who makes these really fun, animated looking pipes that are they're kind of like monkey critters. and he made robots, and he's just one of the most important people working in the pipe world. And I wanted to bring someone to the forefront who also, is from that world and who had a lot to talk about and really bring awareness to the people who are in my community. Oh, and then Dean won again. Dean won for the NGG 2002. Did he win that one? I don't think he won that year. No, I don't think he won that year. I think Morag Riki won. I got to move that winner over. Dean did not participate in NGG 2022. I got to find out why his picture's on there. We'll skip over to Morag, though. So Morag, she creates artwork based upon the difficulties she has where she lives in the UK. She has a special needs son, and she's trying to deal with all the bureaucracy, trying to get her son the help he needs. This topic is very serious to multiple people, including myself. And the idea is her work has these very fun characters in them with mice pushing square pegs into round holes. That idea is just a simple way of her dealing with her frustration while creating the work and bringing awareness to what's important to her in her world. Cheryl Derricat, we met her at, I think I was down in Florida for the shows for our Miami shows and whatnot. I had a chance to go down and meet her and see her, and went out to dinner. But she makes work. The work she made was incredible. It was about, for our particular show, and we've sold a couple pieces, was about the black and white children working in glass studios in the early 1900s. They were all treated equally at that point in time in the glass world. And she made these panels of pictures of them. And it was great to see and great to expose her story to the NGG community. Danny White, we had his participate as well. Danny, a Seattle-based artist, making these fun, large cartoon characters. If you haven't seen his work, please check it out. And then Zach Weinberg, who's like a mad scientist of glass, putting these sculptures together. And he's one of the people that does exactly what he wants, no matter what the repercussions are, which is kind of the point of the show. And we've had him in our Pop and Lock show at the gallery, and I had a chance to see him at GAS. And then Joe Ivacek participated the second year with his participation with Danny Martin. They made these backpacks that are very colorful and beautiful, but they represent the delicacy of life due to the school shootings. The backpacks are symbolism for your children's life, and if a child's life ends at a school shooting, basically that is all that is reminiscent less is that backpack, which is heart, makes you feel something, especially with kids. Krista Israel participated again and was a winner this year along with John Moran. Check out their N22 or 2021 or 2022, should be into 2022 presentations, as well as Morgan Riki participating again with a very powerful work. And it wasn't really a show. It was more like an installation. So check that out. And so we're in the middle of NGG 2023. We had Kimberly Thomas, who was from the pipe world, but she has non-functional work as well. And we've sold her work at the gallery. Just incredibly talented. Had her give us a talk in January of this year. Mike DuPont, also a very driven and talented, and now I think he's a professor or a teacher at a college. It's nice to see them giving back. Andy Kopel, who is another incredibly talented artist, but locally he makes production work and he makes unique things. I discovered him at the Janice Chera Gallery, which is a local gallery inside of the West Bloomfield Jewish Community Center. He was making these towers of smokestacks, and I thought they were very interesting works, and he gave a great talk as well. Janie Latornalu, I should probably learn how to pronounce her name better. I discovered her on Instagram. I just was going across Instagram and saw her making these really interesting cast shoes with these really thick soles. And she only has like 400 followers on Instagram, but it gave me an opportunity to bring someone to the forefront who was making something pretty interesting and pretty incredible. And Sive Molds was doing some incredible work as well. Someone new for our gallery who is creating work that's another challenging art piece. Mostly mixed media artist. Have to go back and see her talk. The work is very personal, very incredible, and very powerful. Jeffrey Bowden, we had a chance to dive into his world as well. Thank you for joining today, Jeff. I know I saw Krista Israel here as well. Talking about his experience in the military, talking about being out of the military, talking about trying to live your life and those who identify with him. The incredible talk, powerful work. Usually people who go through those experiences do not talk about it. My grandfather was a survivor of World War II. Never, ever talked about it. So it's really great to have the kind of dialogue with Jeffrey to get the word out there so that people are going through the same kind of post mental war that continues today. And then we had Lacey Walton, who I mentioned before, is a second generation glass pipe maker. Incredibly talented, a female leader in the community. And we had a small dialogue with her. It was offline because she was traveling, but it's on the NGG website. So we're continuing on now into the future a little bit of NGG. So Slate Grove will be speaking next week. He has a body of work that I've approached to him about guns and about gun control. And I'm hoping he'll be able to participate and talk about that a bit more. As well as Pearl Dick will be back talking about hopefully more of what she's been up to in Chicago and the community and what she's making. As well as, like I said before, Allie Hogue has stepped in because Morgan Riki is no longer able to participate. She has a whole presentation ready to go in the can, which is fantastic. And she'll have a chance to talk about that in her career and work. She was invited the first year of NGG, but was unable to participate. But out of a whim, we saw her at the gas conference here in Detroit. We talked for a minute. I followed up and she jumped in. So look forward to that. Followed by Krista Israel and John Moran's presentations as award winners. So NGG 2024, right? I have a small list of people that I'm talking about, and I'll show you in a minute of some of the people I'm inviting. But if you have any ideas of artists that should be participating in this kind of innovative and future show, please contact me at any time. We're pushing the medium of glass, making people more aware of what's being created today, especially the stuff that's very topical and very in your face. And it's creating fine art too. You know, we're creating artwork that has, artists that in the show are creating artwork that has meaning, that has depth, which is the point of fine art. Many of them are going to be leaders in the community, whether we like it or not. And we're ready to share more of NGG with the world. So my goals for NGG is something that I've been working on when I have had a chance. Obviously, more public awareness. There is a website. We have some social media that I probably need help with. We need more exposure in print media, trying to get the news out there. Some people obviously still use physical print and mailings and magazines and whatnot, and we got to share the stories, work on press releases, and get the concept out there for those to join. Work on social media presence. I have an Instagram page, and I'm going to need help with that. Part of this talk is me needing some help. Physical show. I was trying to figure out to put a physical show together during gas, but I could not get it together with everything going on. And I think it would have been too much anyway, because there was so much going on in Gas Detroit at the time. I think it needs its own special place. Between you guys and me, I have another show, which is a Roe versus Wade show, that I have in process too, talking about that unbelievable war against women, which has to change in no time. But there has to be a voice for women and men to talk about what's going on, and who better to do it, artists that create an experience. A physical show in a museum. I've been trying my best to reach out to institutions. I'm getting pushback because it doesn't fit so well with their constituents. You know, the idea of not seeing just beautiful things, but I think it's coming around. There is a show being done in Europe somewhere, and they want John Moran's big, giant Ronald McDonald piece, and that's kind of the show I'm pushing for. And I'm going to talk to the museum more about why they chose to do this, so I can approach other museums to open their eyes. Keeping up with NGG artists, what the artists have been up to. You know, I given you a little bit of a spiel as I talk, but I'm sure they're up to way more than that. Everybody's so active. There should be a way of updating everybody what NGG's been doing and what the artists have been doing, especially as long if you've seen one, it's always great to follow their career. And then F. So if you're able to, I'd love to bring somebody in, or some people in, or everybody in, to help with Instagram, Threads, and Facebook, to try to get the word out for NGG and to share more of the content of the artists that I'm working on. So invitations will be going out soon. I got to fill out my roster. I need 8 new artists. I think I have 6, as well as the winners, which will be decided at the end of the year. So here's your first preview of NGG 2024. We've selected 6 artists so far, and I'm really eager to invite them. They haven't really been invited yet, and tell their story. Maybe they will, maybe they won't do it, but the idea is to put it out there. There's a few artists I've seen online, a few artists I've met in person, a few artists I got in through word of mouth. We got Igor Frolov, Sarah Brown, Maria Kashnikova, Elena Esposito, Austin Norvell, and Draper Matthews. Each artist I can see from off the bat, they're incredibly talented. So that's an easy one. And I'm eager to learn more about all of their talents, why they make, who they are, and what their careers of bodies of work are like. Some are more advanced than others. Like Maria Kechnikova is Russian, has been working in glass for a long time, while Draper Matthews is a student of John Miller, who John Miller couldn't stop talking about because he's so driven and so hardworking that these are the people that are going to be important for the future. So help wanted, NGG, help wanted. You able to help promote NGG? Make this a team effort. Let me know. I'd love to push what we're doing into the future. And I don't think doing it alone anymore is the right move, because I think I'm stretched out enough alone. But I love NGG. I love doing it. I love all the people involved, and I love the camaraderie of it, because there's a lot of times where NGG is the only opportunity to show some work. And I'm happy and honored to do it. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I know some people had some quick comments there about that piece with Trina's mouse and the sugar bowl was very, very sweet. My aunt bought that, so we'll stay in town. I'm sure she commissioned another one though if you ever wanted to. Do I ever include modern stain art, glass arts? That's a very good question. I would for sure. I just need to know about them. I only know about a few stain artists, and none of them qualify for NGG. It would be like me inviting Janusz Walentinowicz or Judith Schechter into the show. Like, that's what I know about in my perspective. But if you think of somebody that would fit, there is a social media platform on Facebook called Not Grandma's Glass, but Ours. And it's entirely stained glass artists making innovative stained glass pieces. It's just not the caliber of what I'm used to seeing, to be brutally honest. But I'm always up for anything. But thank you guys for joining me today. If you're seeing this on the replay, please let me know your thoughts if you're able to help to get the word out there. And Krista, if you want to tell me about this other person, send me an email. I'd love to take a look at it. She just sent me a message. But I'm always up for it, because we have about 2 slots left of invitations only. And in the future, we'll be, I don't know, we probably won't be opening up to much more of a number because it's 1 month each. But if it becomes a physical show, maybe we'll do something cool. There's sky's the limit, guys. Well, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to stop recording. I hope everybody's a great weekend.